Tourists are flocking to Japan.
Japan has seen a record amount of tourists this year, but that has had a negative impact in some places due to rude tourists.
The last thing you want to do is be a rude tourist in one of the most respectful cultures in the world.
Come with us and we'll show you what we've learned.
Here are the top 15 ways how not to be rude in Japan.
So let's start out with some of the most basic ones, but arguably some of the most important ones. This is particularly important in Airbnbs, some modes of transportation, and your hotels. Do not wear your outside shoes indoors. It's a big no-no in Japanese culture.
Japan has the best slipper game, so don't worry, your toes will be taken care of.
The way that you can tell whether or not you need to change your shoes is that there's gonna be a little step or like a little change of elevation. That is your sign to take off your shoes and put on slippers. A lot of the Airbnbs that we stayed at, they always give you slippers. This is one of the only ones that we didn't get slippers. We got these from a very, very fancy bus where they made us take off our shoes and put on these.
Believe it or not, some places will even give you special bathroom slippers to wear.
Please take this one seriously. There are some Airbnbs that we stayed at where they literally have signs that say shoes are prohibited inside. All right, let's go to a 7-Eleven to talk about the next rule. If you're coming to Japan, you probably know that convenience stores here are basically heaven. Whether you go to a Family Mart, a Lawson, or a 7-Eleven, you're gonna find anything you want, including a 3-course meal. You can literally get anything you want in 7-Eleven. I know you probably paid $1,500 on a plane ticket just to get one of these, let's be real. But whatever you do, do not, and I mean do not consume food out in public, especially if you're gonna be on the go. It is extremely rude in the Japanese culture to eat in public, so don't do it. You wanna know how we found out? We filmed a reel for our Instagram and we posted it. Soon thereafter, we got crucified in the comments. This guy named Jeff literally said we are the reason why tourism in Japan is ruining Japan. So take it from us, do not eat out in public in Japan because Jeff might literally hunt you down. I hope he doesn't see this.
Okay, for our next rule, we are heading over to the metro station. Everything in Japan is very efficient. When you're using the metro system, just follow the signs and try to stay on the left. So everyone here stays on the left, so please don't mess up the flow of traffic. As you can tell, there are constant reminders so you don't mess up the flow of things. And they're not just for show. People truly follow these signs.
So by the way, we're filming this on a Sunday, so the metro is going to be a little less crowded. So here in Japan, everything is extremely orderly, just like the people behind me. So when you go to the metro, make a little line for every single cart of the metro. Back home in Boston, it's kind of like a free-for-all, especially during rush hour. Not here in Japan. Everything is extremely orderly.
When you ride the metro, you'll quickly notice that a lot of people don't have conversations and keep their voices low if they have to speak. Also, be aware that some carts are actually for women only.
So even if Mr. Beast is calling you, don't answer the phone. Wait until you get off the metro somewhere a little bit more quiet, and then you can pick up Mr. Beast's call. And you know how we said earlier about no food and drinking in public spaces? That kind of doubles of importance when you're in the metro. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Before we leave the metro, let me tell you about this next one, and I know it's gonna be a little weird. I learned this because I got sick here in Japan, and I was sniffling all over the place. When you're in the metro, you're technically not supposed to be sniffling and like blowing your nose, especially in the metro. That's considered very, very rude. So don't do it. Apparently you're supposed to wait until you get off the metro and then like do your thing. So don't do it. The Japanese are extremely respectful of others, which is where a lot of these rules come from. For example, Tokyo, the population is so dense that it makes sense to follow these rules just to take care of each other. All right, we're getting hungry, so let's go get some food. Before we move to our next rule, did you know that Japan has see-through toilets? As you can see, like Olga's behind me, and you can see right through it.
All right, now let's talk about our next rule.
Now, my Mexican mom would have given me the chancla for this next rule. Slurping your ramen here in Japan? It's an absolute yes. So by all means, slurp that ramen. But while I have these in my hands, for the next rule, do not do this. This is a big no-no here in Japan, and that is because this is traditionally a funeral ritual, putting the chopsticks inside of a rice bowl. It's a big no-no. And also passing something from chopstick to chopstick, that is also in the funeral tradition, so don't do that. You don't want to associate going to a funeral while you're eating. When you're paying here in Japan, they're always going to give you a tray, or you'll always see a tray somewhere, even in supermarkets. So don't hand people money, so just put it on the tray. Finally, do not tip here in Japan. It becomes a thing where like they see it as like you're assessing their performance. That's something that Japanese don't like.
Now the next rule was the most shocking to us, and that's because jaywalking is actually illegal here. No, seriously, people wait until the light turns green until they cross the street, even if there's no traffic.
This next rule will apply to you only if you rent a car. We learned this next rule after spending close to a month in Tokyo. So we're in an intersection, and I don't know if you can hear it, but like there's no honking. And that is because it's actually extremely rude to honk here. We learned this after doing Mario Kart in Shinjuku. Our instructor literally told us if you honk more than a couple of times, the police will pull you over and give you a fine. If you go to LA, if you go to New York, there's honking everywhere. Here in Tokyo, you'll never hear it. Out of the 2 months that we spent in Japan, we rented a car for 2 weeks. And out of those 2 weeks, we heard honking once. And technically, it was my fault. So after a long day of exploring Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, here comes the next rule. And the next rule is do not litter.
Please be prepared to hold your trash. Japanese people take their trash disposal really seriously, so make sure you don't litter.
One of the things that we've learned to do is to either carry a backpack like myself, or she carries a bigger bag. And whatever trash we accumulate throughout the day of exploring, we just throw it in there, and then by the time we get to the Airbnb, we just toss it in.
Speaking of holding stuff, do me a favor, buy yourself a coin purse so you can hold all your coins in one spot. So you're going to be getting a lot of coins on your trip. And they come in handy, especially when you want to grab something from the vending machine.
This next rule was particularly hard for me because I am Hispanic and I like to hug everybody or tap them on the shoulder. Here in Japan, touching is like not a thing.
So be prepared to do a lot of bowing.
Last, but certainly not least, don't be like the lady at the beginning of the video. If a person doesn't want to be filmed, don't film them. There's a reason why Kyoto had to take measures to ban tourists from the geisha district.
Japan is a literal heaven for us tourists, so please be respectful of the culture and enjoy this place responsibly.
In the end, the Japanese understand that tourists are not going to know all the cultural norms here in Japan. This video is just a way for you to enjoy Japan and everything it has to offer while also respecting the culture.
By watching this video, you are way ahead of the game, so just keep these rules in mind and enjoy your time here.
Hope that helped. Catch you guys on the next adventure. Peace.
As always, thank you so much for watching.